Hey guys, Stock Saturday, and feel free to try the Trading212 link. They might let you in, never know. Bit of a down week again on the portfolio, down about 5,000. Although this is almost entirely crypto miners, so I don't really sort of count that as a red week. Kind of see the miners, sort of Argo and Hive, as basically an extension of the crypto portfolio, really. It's not sort of stocks I would want to be in after the sort of crypto has run its course, in my opinion. So yeah, their Hive sort of took the bulk of the drop this week, down about 30% from the looks of it. So yeah, that was rough. I've done a little sort of spreadsheet on them similar to Argo blockchain, and sort of on today's crypto prices, they still seem a little overvalued, if anything, on the basis that sort of these prices would stay there for a year, which I think is unlikely. But yeah, we'll see. Don't think I'm wanting to sort of drastically increase my exposure to these, so I had sort of considered maybe selling out of some of the sort of gold and silver stocks, but yeah, I don't think so. So Argo sort of down, not quite as much, about 11%. And then sort of some of the gold and silver stocks down as well. Silver sort of having a bit of a rough time of it still. It normally would. You'd normally sort of look at past crashes. Silver has sort of dropped quite a bit with the sort of industrial use in sort of recessions dropping, and then sort of it comes back with gold. So yeah, it's kind of expected if we are sort of heading into that. So looking at Trading212, yeah, it's down sort of a couple of thousand. Nothing really happened with the ArcPi. As I say, this is sort of largely Argo blockchain. Obviously, heavily down on that now, 61%. But yeah, we hold that. American Tower down 5%. The REITs sort of, or the more tech focused REITs are taking a little bit of a hit at the moment. Digital Realty worse. Not sort of prices yet that I would really be wanting to buy, but yeah, not too bad. I do have the sort of, what is it, £3,300 that I put in last week. Haven't actually bought anything with it yet. Sort of biding my time a little bit and just holding a bit of cash, which is unlike me. Yeah, so as I say, silver sort of had a real knock this week, 13.8%. I think we're sort of closing in on $20, which is a reasonable sort of opportunity potentially. Not wanting to sort of call the bottom on silver. Expect it could drop a lot lower. And then, yeah, most of the sort of others haven't moved all that much. Sylvania, sort of 1%. The Tritax is, yeah, 1%. Eurobox hasn't even moved. And, yeah, Vici hasn't really moved. So, yeah, you can see sort of what's causing the drops, obviously. If you take crypto out, it's basically a flat week. And yeah, the investor count went on a real roller coaster. Actually ended up 200 quid, but yeah, hell of a drop during the week. We have started to see some of the tech stocks, Alphabet flat for the week, but Apple finally sort of starting to come down again. Sort of really lagged the drop for quite a while from the other sort of tech stocks since the beginning of the year. It was sort of holding its own quite well, but has started to finally come down. Nowhere near sort of prices I would want to buy at, but yeah, coming down certainly. And then sort of the rest is pretty much a mixed bag. Sort of Barrett slightly up. Bristol Myers 1% down on the week. Still kind of waiting for a bit more of a move up maybe, and sort of some of the other holdings to come down a little, and I'll probably sell off Bristol Myers. Sort of done its job almost, still at a forward PE of sort of 10, 11. So yeah, with everything else sort of coming down, I think that may be time to go at some point, sort of switching into sort of more growth stocks that are coming down to that sort of valuation. Been sort of doing that with TSMC and sort of various other ones that have sort of come down to close to 15. So yeah, that was always the plan, selling sort of stocks that are, you know, sort of staying at forward PE, say, of 10 to 11, and sort of buying the growth stocks that were 25 and have now come down to sort of 15. So yeah, thinking about that. Similar with FedEx, that sort of, yeah, barely moved in the last month, where a lot of things have done. So we'll see with that. Glencore, yeah, some of the metals taking a bit of a hit, copper in particular. So Glencore has been hit again. Sort of industrial use in the recession potentially would come down. It had been sort of relatively high, obviously on a long-term basis. It was very high with the inflation. Just sort of potentially seeing a bit of a drop. So forecasts have come down slightly, but yeah, I can't see it staying down for years and years with the sort of increased potential use in the future. Himax had their results, looked sort of pretty good, down on last quarter, which they were forecasting. They're also forecasting next quarter to be down again, but they're saying that should be the bottom. Obviously sort of wary of companies like this. Yeah, the chart obviously doesn't go back on Trading212 that far, but they're a sort of very, very cyclical company, and sort of not entirely sure whether you should believe their forecasts, although they did forecast this quarter to be lower, and it's pretty much come bang on where they said it was going to be. Very much up on last year, but quarter on quarter it's down. So yeah, still seems a reasonable hold. Not one that I'm buying. Might do if we sell something else and it comes down a little bit more, but yeah, with the recent move, I think it's just a hold. Intel, yeah, not done too much. Johnson & Johnson still sort of kind of waiting again for one last move upwards, maybe sort of towards 180 or so if it can do. Again, sort of, it's obviously not going to make that much difference, but kind of waiting for something else to sort of come down that would pique my interest. This is at sort of still a 17, I think, forward PE, so very much in the range of sort of selling that off and buying a more growthy stock. Legal & General done reasonably well off a fairly poor couple of weeks. Lennar down slightly, but that sort of hasn't really moved. Meta, yeah, back under 200. Did have a big spike down to sort of 186, but has recovered. Nintendo, not really done too much. Neither is Porsche. Process come back a little bit with 10 cents rise. Yeah, Rio Tinto, sort of not as bad as Glencore. Steel, iron ore prices have sort of come down slightly, but yeah, not as much as copper. And sort of the other metals aren't doing too bad. So yeah, they sort of all in a similar position, really. Rio, Vale and Glencore. If I sort of got a big bundle of money all of a sudden, I would probably put it in them, but yeah, not looking to sell off other stuff to put in them anymore now that I've upped the positions a fair amount. Samsung, yeah, not done too bad. Seneca Foods, 11% up on the week. Don't even think they've released their results, but just doing quite well. Obviously only a small position, but still looks fairly good value, so I'm not selling it at the moment. Shell, basically flat, but did have a drop down during the week, like most things. Still pondering whether to take a bit of profit on that, but yeah, not sure. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Siemens, yeah, flat. Sony had reasonable week. Stellantis had a reasonable week as well. Sort of, again, I was quite tempted to sort of be buying in the 13s range, maybe with something like FedEx or Johnson and Johnson, but yeah, didn't bother. TSMC pretty flat for the week, but yeah, I've sort of upped this a fair bit now, £5 but tempted to go a bit further. Taylor Wimpey, yeah, possibly thinking about Taylor Wimpey and Barrett as well, maybe with some of the cells, sort of Johnson Johnson, FedEx, and that sort of thing. Might be going for the UK house builders. Sort of, they've come down quite a bit without me really noticing, to be honest. Still sort of potential drop in the UK house prices that would sort of hit them a fair bit. Been sort of expecting that for a long while, but it hasn't really panned out. They're still rocketing up 10% year on year, I believe. Tesla is very interesting. Was sort of down very, very much for the week, but it looks like Elon has postponed his buy of Twitter. Again, sort of announcing it on Twitter. Not very legal from what I gather. People looking into him again, but yeah, sort of stemmed what would have been a 16-17% loss, so that's not very good. Not at sort of prices I would particularly be wanting to buy it in this sort of environment, so yeah, we'll see how that one does. Yeah, Tyson not really moved. Vale very similar to Rio Tinto, and Volkswagen, yeah, 1.5% down. I'm sort of considering this at the moment, but I still just keep looking and thinking Stellantis is sort of a little bit better, very similar valuations, and they haven't got the whacking great big balance sheet issues and debt. So yeah, that's the portfolio for the week. Sort of bit of a roller coaster, but if you take out crypto, it's been a sort of fairly slow week. So yeah, leave your thoughts in comments below and like and subscribe. See you soon.